wind has turned since yesterday. I can smell the neighbor's fire. It is that damp wood and cedar that always brings me back to you. We were standing by the garden gate, wearing those heavy woolen jumpers. The air was sharp enough to bite, sharp enough to bite. We are still the same two people, despite the turning of the years, like a stone wall in the meadow. We hold the earth together through every frost and every thaw. Every frost and thaw. Do you remember that October when we found the orchard trees? You bit into a winter apple and laughed because it was so cold. The juice was tart upon your tongue, a taste of something permanent, a taste of something permanent, something permanent. We are still the same two people, despite the turning of the years, like a stone wall in the meadow. We hold the earth together through every frost and every thaw. Every frost and thaw. Time is just a highway we walk, leaving footprints in the soft mud, but the scent of smoke remains, reminding me that you are here, even when the map is folded. When the map is folded, we are still the same two people, despite the turning of the years, like a stone wall in the meadow. We hold the earth together through every frost and every thaw. The wood smoke lingers on my coat, just like the way you stay through the seasons, damp wool and winter apples. I am standing by the limestone ridge. The air moves through the deep gaps. It sounds like a private conversation between people, private conversation between people who are no longer here. The grass is flattened by the gale, a green coat pressed against the earth. Check my watch and I wait, waiting for the sound. The valley speaks in vowel sounds. It does not use a common language, just a long and steady exhaling breath, repeating through the heavy damp. Heard a woman call for Arthur. His name was sharp and very clear. Then the sound of a heavy closing door. Though there are no houses in sight, there is a rustic gate swinging, banging against a gray stone post. The rhythm is consistent and slow, consistent and slow. The valley speaks in vowel sounds. It does not use a common language, just a long and steady exhaling breath, repeating through the heavy damp. temperature drops by 4 degrees. I pull my woolen collar to my chin. The mist stays low in the hollow, refusing to rise with the morning sun. It is a physical weight today, a blanket made of cold salt. Walking back to the parked car, the gravel crunches under my boots. The voices fade into the white air, leaving only this fade into the white. Heavy air on the neck, feet finding the dirt, feet finding the dirt, finding the dirt. 1 point stays fixed, high above the oak trees. It doesn't show the way, it just shows the space between us. The space. My palms feel warm despite the freezing rain. A small pulse in the wrist, that is all the light I need. That is all the light I need. All I need, all I need. 1 point stays fixed, navigating the blackness. The map is in the bone. The map is in the bone. In the bone. 1 point stays fixed, navigating the blackness. The map is in the bone. The map is in the walking alone until the sun breaks, until the sun breaks. The sea has reached the door. The salt is in the wood. I left my boots inside to walk the turning coast. The quay is lost to moss, where the heavy water pulls, and no one comes to call across the rising pool. The shops are filled with silt, the signs have washed away. I sit upon the roof to watch the ending day. The gardens turn to salt underneath the moving gray. There is no path to take except to simply stay. We are an island now, so far away. The road is under clouds, so far away. The lighthouse stands alone, a tooth of gray and bone. It has no use for oil or ships that want the shore. It looks out at the deep with a cold and hearts circle by. I feel the floorboards move. The tide is in the hall. I have no need to run or climb the garden wall. The town is going back to the place where it began. I let the water rise and hold it in my hand. Salt and silt, just salt and silt, falling down, just salt and silt. The road is under cloud. Creaks against the oak. I climb toward the higher shelves. Red buckram, red buckram and cold calfskin, lined up like silent soldiers, lined up like silent soldiers, silent soldiers, silent soldiers, silent soldiers. I pulled a heavy folio down, the spine cracked like a winter branch. But the pages were clean as snow, not a single mark of ink. Everything is here and gone. Everything is yet to start. Yet to start. 1,000 books of nothing at all. The tall windows let in grey light. Motes of dust dance in the air. I lick my thumb to turn the leaf, feeling the rough grain of the paper. There is a weight to every volume, a pressure in the stitch binding like a lung holding its breath. Before the first word is spoken, my own life feels like this vellum, waiting for a pen that never arrives. Just the pressing of the covers, the archive of the things I miss, things I miss. Everything is here and gone. Everything is yet to start. Yet to start. 1,000 books of nothing. Desk, the leather smells of salt and thyme, walking out with heavy pockets and nothing left to read. Nothing left. Nothing left. The iron latch is sticking in the damp air. I had to pull twice to get the wood to move. The ivy on the wall is turning a strange shade of rust, while the bees are getting slow in the lavender. I saw you standing where the shade is the deepest, looking at the marks we made in the soft bark. The wind is coming from the way from the top of the hills. Summer is folding up its heavy blankets. We leave the secrets in the cracks of the stove. It is just the way the season works, moving along without asking us why. Moving along, now moving along. I tuck the paper deep inside the mossy gap. right where the granite blocks meet the dirt. You didn't say a word, but I saw your hand shake just a little bit, like the birch leaves above us. We are walking back before the rain starts to fall. The grass is already feeling thin under my boots. There is a smell of wet earth and wood smoke rising from the chimneys down in the valley. Summer is folding up its heavy blankets. We leave the secrets in the cracks of the stone. It is just the way the season works, moving along without asking us why. Moving along, now moving along. The birds are gathering on the telephone wires, talking about where they need to go. We are just staying here in the garden, watching the green turn to something else. Summer is folding up its heavy blankets. We leave the secrets in the cracks of the stone. It is just the way the season works, moving along without asking us why. Moving along, now moving along, moving along. The gate is closed now. The stone is cold. Just moving along, moving along. I packed the boot before the sun was up, left the keys under that heavy stone. You were sleeping with your mouth open. I didn't want to start an argument. The air is cold and smells of wet wool. My boots are scuffed from years of walking. I'm pulling out onto the main road, heading where the sky turns dark purple. The world is just a wash of gray and green, a painting that won't ever stay quite still. I'm just passing through the frame again, watching all the colors bleed together. It's a transient canvas under my feet, and I am just a brushstroke moving on. The A1 stretches out toward the north, lorry drivers blinking in the rain. I saw a man fix a garden fence. He looked happy with his hammer and nails. I used to want a life that stayed in place, a kitchen table and a heavy coat, but the road keeps calling out my name, and I've never been good at standing still. The world is just a wash of gray and green, a painting that won't ever stay quite still. I'm just passing through the frame again, watching all the colors bleed together. It's a transient canvas under my feet, and I am just a brushstroke moving on. The years are like the markers on the verge. They flash by and then they disappear. I don't look in the rear view anymore. There's nothing back there I can fix today. Nothing I can fix today. I'm just a witness to the passing light. The world is just a wash of gray and green, a painting that won't ever stay quite still. I'm just passing through the frame again, watching all the colors bleed together. It's a transient canvas under my feet, and I am just a brushstroke moving on, moving on, moving on. Just a brushstroke in the rain. The canvas is shifting. The road is wide open now.